Hello and welcome back to another day of Fuse coding where we're learning TypeScript. And last time, or not yesterday, a few days ago, we started learning TypeScript, and today we're going to continue that. As mentioned in the last show, let me just turn this camera down a slight bit, move my head up, that's more fun. On the last show we mentioned if we had a currency conversion API, we'd do currency conversion. So I found one. We have free currency converter API. It has a maximum of 100 requests per hour, which should be more than enough for us as long as we don't screw up the request and issue it in a loop. And we'll do the proper caching and stuff, or most of the proper caching. And I think this will give us. So what we'll do today then is, to learn TypeScript, we're going to try and learn a module. How to do modules in TypeScript. And we'll do a module that does currency conversion, and we'll use this API to make it live, and then we'll make our little display show conversions. This was a tool we had last time. We had little ones like this, and we had the conversions. And we want to put a little selector at the top that says which currency would we like to see these results in. Now let's just take a quick look at the code first, how the main code looks. It's a declarative code. I don't like the blue so much. I'm going to change that. Every time I stick with blue or something, it's nice to look at it more and more. I want less and less blue. I want the background more and more colorful, or less and less saturated. Where is that blue? Blue, 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 blue. There it is right there. look at how barely blue it is, yeah? Does it make it even less blue? That should have been less blue. Come on, was it less blue? It doesn't look like less blue to me, does it? Huh. There's something disconnected here. Uh-oh. Got a problem. I hope I'm in the right file. TypeScript. It should have been the right one. Let's just restart the viewport. I had this running for a while in the background now. I don't know what's actually happening with it, so let's find out. Just restart the viewport and let it do it. And I may be pressing the wrong file to save it. Well, this is strange. What's really wrong here? Oh, so somehow the color wasn't updating it. So I want that to be D and there's blue. And wait a second, it's not updating all the colors. Or it is. And that's just still super blue. Oh, wow. I always get these wrong. I want even less blue. Come on, less blue. There we go, it's close enough to less blue. It needs a bit more padding too. Just more padding to make it look like we have more items here. And I notice in design, when you have things like this, if you have these things lined up, it's the rounding here looks okay here, but when you have two different roundings, it's never so satisfactory to have like that. And so let's change that. Let's just change the upper corner so it has similar rounding, so it lines up a little bit better. And then we can actually squish that into the corner a little bit more. And it creates a little bit more consistent design there. And I wonder if I actually put negative margins on here. I can't remember if I actually supported that margin equals -2. Yeah, we do. So we can move that up into the corner a little bit more. And so it fits together a little bit more with the color in the corners, so it doesn't look so exaggerated. I don't know if it's not like the greatest design, but it looks like less jarring. And I think jarring is a good approach when you're doing design. Don't go for jarring. That's always bad. Let's make the title text here. Make it a bold font. Again, we're just using the default fonts here. And so that's okay. We have that there. You may want to separate this thing off there, but for now, we're not focused too much on design, so let's get back to the actual code. We had the state code here, and we created these items. They're just hard-coded for now. And we created this monies class, which has the static constructors, which takes different values. And last time we said, can we make a convert to function, how we convert all of these items into currencies. Now what's going to be a challenge here is that, do we make this value live? And by live I mean, if I select at the top a different currency, is this just a UI change? Or is this actually a data change? And this is sometimes get very hard, so we're going to try and structure it first as just a UI change. And we're going to see if we can do that. I'm not positive we can, I mean, at least not with this model set up, but let's do it anyways. Let's create a little selector at the top. Let's just put a little 1, and we'll make a selection item up there. And it's just going to be a docked panel. We have a big, well, we should make a client panel. Let's make it work with the various devices, and we'll stick a little selector at the top to select which currency we want to have. And so we'll have a panel doc equals top. And we'll make this one pure white just for fun. Give it some padding, padding 2. And we'll stick I'm going to stick a stack panel in for the actual selector. We're going to line this off to the right, alignment equals right. And we'll put the various currencies in here. And there should be currencies coming from the main model. Which currencies do we support? So say this is currencies, and we will say, I guess the standard as a currency, we'll say US dollar. We'll support euros. And I don't know what other currency we should support. Something different. Let's support, let's do Great British Pounds, because they also have a symbol that we can look up later for that. So we'll take away the CAD, we'll leave in here though, because CAD we want to still leave that they can convert from it, and we can convert to which currencies. But we should also have an option that says, and this is where it's going to be weird, how do we indicate an option that says no currency conversion? Well, we can actually do this in the selection. We can say no currencies, and we'll do that a different way. Currencies. It's a string, a list of strings. I'm going to use the TypeScript here. So this is the TypeScript part. It's a list of strings. So here we have each item. I'm going to show those list of strings. And we're going to put a small panel around each of them for the sole purpose that we want to make these a selectable, because we will use the selection API. Value equals, and this will be the data, and value text. Text value equals, again, data. We're just going to use the same key and name for each of them. And this panel should have a bit of a margin. I'm not sure how to make this. It's going to have a name, UX name equals, I just call it currency. I don't know what to call this one. And it also has a bit of a padding. Say 5,2 again. And we're going to say while selected. When you select it, we're going to say, that's the reason why I needed the name. Same currency dot color equals CCC. This will be a selection UX. That's, I guess it doesn't need it. Value equals show currency. We're going to have this value too. This is going to be a two-way binding. So we have show currency. It's going to be string. Again, we're using string because we have no way to do strong type defs in TypeScript. And I'm not sure what it's complaining about. What is this down here? I'd really like, I'm still looking for the case. There's obviously a plugin that's identified something wrong here, but we don't have any way of identifying, well, what is actually wrong. Does it have to have a default? Now I wonder what should be default. Let's make the default. It's going to default actually work. I think, oh, that must have been it. It must need to have the value. Okay. Show currencies, show currency. It appears not to have reloaded this, so let's just restart the viewport again. If you have any questions during the show, just ask. I'm trying to focus a bit on TypeScript here on this one, and figure out where my currency problem is. Currencies not found. Well, that's a bit odd. Currencies, this is the currencies. I must have spelt something wrong. Oh, yeah. Okay, key point. When working with TypeScript, it's rather important to have the TypeScript daemon running to actually update the stuff. Where is that one? I had it here somewhere. I think it's called TSC-W. Alright, So that should have recompiled it. There we go. And so I guess I should have changed the order of those. And we can give them a border. We won't do the rounding border quite right yet. And instead of giving it a color, let's give it a... Let's just make this a rectangle instead, because it makes it easier to give it a color. Stroke color equals... Just make it very light to start with. Stroke width equals 1. Rectangle. Orientation. Alright, so we have the fee there, and we have to actually do what happens when it's tapped. And I'm using tap this time as opposed to click, because it's not really something you want to click. It's more of a tapping thing. And this actually should have more of a padding, I guess, at the top and bottom. Looks a bit weird. Tapped, toggle selection, that should be good enough. And selection, min count we're going to allow 0. It's going to be weird. Min count equals 0, max count equals 1. Which actually makes this one bad. Currencies as values, the value isn't actually show currency anymore. The value, this is gets... Yeah. So what's going to happen is we can select this here, and it'll be selected. And you can toggle it on and off. This makes the back end work a little bit more difficult if we want to support this, which we do, because it's easier for the user. Is that show currency actually has to be an array now. And this is either going to have nothing in it or it's going to have one of the currencies in it. And how can we change that? Now, getting this stuff connected is going to be a bit of a problem, but we'll see how well we do. Now, let's just assume this is here, and let's start in the actual module aspect. Let's pretend we have a module. Like I say, this is going to be very difficult because we can't call a formatter on here. This is something we're kind of missing in the way we do the code right now, is we can't really call a formatter on these things. So what we might end up doing is, yeah, I'm really not sure how to do that. Let's just work on the actual module bit first. Or we're going to have to figure out how to call it first. No, I've never actually done this in this mode here, is because we can't create custom formatter functions. And as in the view here, we can't say, like we're calling just something called format down here, formatted. This formatted, we're going to have to make use of a global value here a little bit. And what this might mean is that this currency here, let's make this an empty array. This currency here is going to have to be available globally, so this formatted value, formatted. Somehow this formatted has to know which currency it wants. And so let's make a formatted current, and we'll kind of abuse the global state in JavaScript for us. It's within a module, so it's not so bad. And we'll make an optional, on this. How do we do this? Show currency is a string, or how do you do an optional? I want to do none. There must be an optional type. TypeScript. How do we optional? Let's just search for it. That's more fun. TypeScript optional value. I think it has to be nullable. TypeScript optional value. Yeah, we'll learn how to do that. And what optional value is optional? Yeah, those are the... Well, that's not there. Where we saw this? It's the thing with the question mark. That's all we have. Anybody know where to find that question mark again? What was this thing? This is kind of a pain. TypeScript optional. I don't know how to declare this thing, so I wanted the optional value. We saw it yesterday. Not yesterday, the day before, on how to actually create it with a little question mark. But I don't know how to actually do it. And they have no search function here, which is kind of annoying. Decorator, I think it'd be in basic types, but it's not. Maybe it's in classes. They don't have an API reference either, which is weird. Optional. Optional. Wonderful. So, how do we make an optional value? Oops, I'm pressing the wrong key. I'm on the wrong keyboard still. Optional parameter. Maybe type nullable. Maybe that's what I want. Nullable should also be look. Okay. Now this thing says that all values can be null or undefined, but from our experiences last time, that wasn't actually true. We couldn't actually define null to a value. We actually... Okay, let's just put a question mark on it. This is a show currency string. Now it's giving me this weird warning. I wonder what that warning is. Comma expected. Variable declaration expected. Okay. What does it not like? It doesn't like something here. We don't need the semicolon, but what does it not like? We have that, variable declarations. Can we not give them types? I'm unsure as to why it doesn't accept my variables. This is our current mystery. Why does it not accept that? This is line 16. Why is this not a valid variable? Show currency. This is supposed to be a optional string, and I'm trying to figure out why it just says variable declaration expected, comma expected. If I take this off, that doesn't help any. Well, it should start as undefined, so I shouldn't need to do that. Weird. So how do I figure this one out? Let's just try and go for this. Let's see if we can actually do a Google search on this, or any search. Actually, I don't know how to copy from this panel. All this is saying this is a weird place to put a question mark, but maybe I'm not understanding what optional means. What I mean is that this variable it's optional. Or is it can only be fields can be optional? But even if I take this off, it's still complaining. It's still saying show currency is invalid. Its value is never read. Oh, so that's the issue. Oh, that's just like really annoying. It highlights that. And if I put the so maybe that's it. Maybe fields can't be only fields can be optional, which makes the type system. I always find this funny when you call something TypeScript. I'm expecting a fairly consistent type system, and so this is actually a surprise to me that if I could declare an optional value inside class, why can't I declare one globally? So this is going to be a string, and we're going to have to we're going to say if undefined, do no conversion. And then in main view we have formatted currents. Formatted currents. We're going to do formatted current string. And So we're going to have to do a conversion. How do we do this? So if we say if well, all this I'm referring to like optionals. Optionals in other languages. The optional type, say in C++, or the optional type in Rust, and the optional type in various languages means a variable can be defined or not. It's not like the properties being defined or not. And so in this case, it looks like TypeScript is saying whether the property is defined or not, which is very different than what I consider an optional variable. This is more like it's an optional element it's an optional property of the element, which is something completely different. It's saying the name may not even be there, I guess. And I'm not clear, but maybe we should stick this in a variable anyways. I think we'll have to change the structure anyways, because I need to get the variable, the module, to update correctly for this. And yeah, let's create a class. Let's create a formatter out of this anyways. Let's create a, I don't know what to call this, a config class, and we'll stick it in here. So this should be allowed now. Alright, now we need to have a static here. I want to put a static, whoops, I don't know what that did. And how do we get the currency? Current config. Well, we can just create a global one. Let's just create a global one. Config is config equals new config. What I'm going to have to do is I have to get this into our tree, though. And again, I don't know why this is highlighted. This.config equals, I guess, config. I hope that looks up globally. Expression expected, line 29. I still have an error there. So now we have if config.showCurrency. And I'm trying to figure out how to get this updated. I'm just worried about this. I'm trying to get the reactive aspect of this without having to force a manual change. I want to get this reactive done. Equals undefined, I guess. We're going to figure this one out. Return just, I could call formatted, but let's just return the default formatting. Actually, let's just do formatted. Else we're going to have to convert this. And this we're going to be weird. Let's just assume it's fixed for now. Convert currency. Value is a number from string to string. And this will be a number it gives back. A lot of tools are doing this to me lately. They're not unindenting stuff on me. Alright, so the new value is going to be convert currency. This.value, this.currency, config.showCurrency. And then we'll return the formatting of that. This.value, format currency, this.currency, and this has to be NV now. NV. Ooh, all sorts of errors. Oh, well, we have that. Ah, stupid thing. Alright, we should probably return that. Let's just return the value for now. I should return the value times 2 so we notice this is actually working. From is declared, that's news. This should not be an error. I mean, come on, a warning find. Is this actually still compiling? I hope it's still compiling. Well, I keep getting wrong numbers. I really don't like Mac keyboards. They have too many keyboard shortcuts. I mean, why does Mac have like 3, actually 4 if you control the function shortcuts? It's just a matter of there is a Control F, Command F, Alt F, Function F. It's just weird. Alright. Turn this dot formatted, that's correct. Alright, so we have something. Now obviously nothing's going to update here yet, and this is something I'm not sure how to do now, is somewhere in our model we have a way to respond to changes here. And that's what I need to do now. I need to say when the value changes. We looked this up once. All this, I think if you knew, can you tell me again? I need to respond to a change and show currency. I need to know when show currency changes. So I need to have a function called currency changed. And I'm going to map it to the global value. And I just need to know when it changes to call it. I can cheat right now and we can call it directly, but I prefer not to do that. So I'm going to say if show currency dot length equals 0, then this should be this. And show currency equals undefined. We'll just clean it out. Else show currency equals and this actually has to be a function, I think. So all this, I have this value show currency, which is being modified by the selection here. So selection is either adding or removing items, and I need to know from the JavaScript side when the user changes this value. I think this has an on-value change, but there's a generic way as well to do it, I think. Just in the model itself to say when it's changed. I could also just put an on-value changed, I think. We'll figure that one out too, but maybe you understand what I mean now. And this should be this.config.showCurrency. This.config.showCurrency equals this.showCurrency 0. Let's just do this here. On value changed, I think, is enough. On value changed equals currency changed. I don't know if this one's available for the JavaScript level. That's my reason why I'm saying that might not work. Selection does not have a property called onValueChanged. And this should actually be values. And this should be actually values on selection changed. Alright, so we don't actually have that. What we can do here is we can cheat. We can do this, I think, for now, until we get the thing callback action equals currency changed. We'll cheat for now and just put a second action there. Values must be an observable array. Is it selection changed? Oh yeah, selection changed would work. There is a way, a generic event to get these updated too. Oh, that one seems to work, so let's do that. Values must be an observable array. Well, that's disturbing. Let's see if it's actually working. So that log changed. Right, so it seems to be working. Now the question is, why are other things not updating? This is where I'm saying the challenge is going to be, because the model here is probably not detecting the relationship between this currency and these values. And we don't actually have a way to force this, I think. I think it's a limitation of our model, so we don't have a way to force the change. And this is what I mean by forcing a change, is that when we change the currency, we're going to have to tell it, hey, look, all these values here are supposed to change. there is this dependency through config, and config does modify a value, but it's just not getting down to here. Format. And we'll see that's not going to happen here when we do this. As we change it, it's not going to call, it doesn't call formatted again. So I'm not sure in the Fuse side, how do we get this thing to update? We need to tell it to get the formatted values to update. And this is one of the limitations of an automatic reactive system, is when something doesn't do what you want, you have to figure out how to force it to update. And now I'm going to try and figure out how we do that. How can we do that? That's a good question. Well, what if we stick the formatting on here? Format currency, and we'll give it a money value. And we'll let it take care of it. And we'll do config dot format currency this. Oh, this, I hate mechanical keyboards. They're loud. Why on earth would you want to use a mechanical keyboard? I'm still looking for the quietest keyboard I can possibly find. I still have to put a little shield. I'm intending to put a shield up here so it makes it quieter. I have a quiet cherry one, which is non-mechanical right now, but they're still quite noisy. All the mechanical ones I've tried have been horribly loud, and I don't necessarily like the mechanics of them anyways. I don't see the advantage of them, to be honest. And there are no silent ones. I can absolutely. I ordered the one that's called Silent Cherry, and it's absolutely not silent. It's noisier than the old Logitech K120 I had, and so to this date I've not actually found a single silent mechanical keyboard. If there is one in existence, nobody's been able to point it out to me. And I have a membrane keyboard right now, and they're still the quietest in my opinion, but they're not as stable as the mechanical ones. But this one's really well. As to the actual keyboard layout, I think it's just a Mac issue, is that it's just kind of annoying that in a typical editor you have to use combinations of like 3 keys to do the very basic things like searching, going to line, saving. They're a combination of keystrokes. As opposed to just using control or something. I just don't use it in my main editor. Yeah, I've heard of the rubber rings and stuff, but I don't know. I want quiet. Honestly, I just want a membrane keyboard because I'm totally happy with the feedback they have. And I don't need to have clicky keys. Alright, so we have format currency. Let's go back to this. Format currency, this. And money value, so we're going to do, if this does show currency is that yeah, I think I'm using I don't have Carabiner, but I just have Ukulele and map some basic keys, because the Mac I have has some really weird keyword layers. It doesn't even have like the tilde in the right location, so I had to map that. What I'd really love to have is, on my Mac, I want the international keyboard layouts that I use from Linux so I can type international characters. I still have no idea how to do that on a Mac keyboard. I have no idea how to set it up. On Linux, I have dead keys, so I can combine like quotes with an A to get an A umlaut, for example. And I'd really like to have that on a Mac. I don't know how to do that, though. mv.value, and we do mv.currency. NV, I'm going to say this.currency, this.show currency. mv.value, mv.currency. This.show currency, hopefully it's defined, and format currency, this.currency. So we'll do that. We can get rid of this one now. Actually, let's just get rid of the formatted entirely. No, let's better leave it there just in case. So I don't know if any of this is actually going to make a difference here. Alright, Control G30, I missed something. This.show currency. Okay. So let's do this. Console.log list.config.show currency. Euro, USD, undefined. That's exactly what we want. Okay, now I'm still stuck in the same position. How do I get the UI to update? And it's one of the limitations I think we have in Fuse. I don't know how to force this thing to update because we know this value has changed, and I just don't know how to force it to change. Which is really weird. How can I actually do this without lacking global functions? As I say, it's a limitation of reactive frameworks, and I'm just trying to think of how we can work around it. We don't need this convert to. The way you'd work around if we do custom functions, and that's why I'm saying what would be really helpful here is if we had formatted value, we would really love to have something like this, formatted currency, because this would actually take care of the reactive chain, because then currency would change and a format would know it's changed. But lacking this type of thing, I'm not sure how we actually do this. How can I actually force this thing to update? The ideas would be good. I'm just trying to think. And we really need to have that callback there. And how we can't do a custom function, but the getter should be enough. But it doesn't call the getter multiple times. Console.log formatted. Right, now I just need to say, yeah, this is something it was supposed to set up on its own, and how on earth can I do that? Lacking this option, how can we force this thing to update? There's no actual way to force it. I don't know. How do we force the display to update without just spitting out new currency values to all of them? The thing is, I know how this model works. If I actually just could, I know the message I have to send, but there's no high-level interface to it. And this type of transitive relationship is kind of a pain in a reactive. But again, if I could just do a function here, parameter here, that would work just fine. Just trying to think if there's any way I can combine it here. There's no way I'm going to be able to force it to update. Yep. There's nothing I can do. So much for doing the currency aspect. How do I just get this thing to force to update? What if I take this off of the money value and put it on the item itself? Yeah, all this, I mean, I'm trying, I don't know how to force it to refresh, so we're going to have to add just like some random value to the thing. Right, because this should have been enough because we have a dependency on config, and config is being updated. And since config actually does this, how can we actually make it do something more? We can't create our own custom streams, so how do I do this? Item, if we put formatted value on item, we try that for now. Format the currency on the item itself. That would simplify it a bit. It might help, because then we could trigger an update on the item. Figure this dot value. And then we change this over here just to be formatted current. And that's still not enough, but now we have it on the actual items. So on the items itself now, we could just do like a fake function update, and I'm not really sure this works for v in of, I guess, for v of this dot items, v dot update. V not defined. What's the problem here? This is supposed to be something like this, no? Or like v of items. I always get so many loops. Haha! So that's triggering it. There we go. That's triggering it. We forced the update. And so we somehow just got it to update on its own. I'm not entirely clear on why it doesn't detect that the config updated on its own. And it's just not getting the transitive relationship enough for that config. Maybe it has to do with us not calling a function on config. But let's just go with this for now. We can go with this for now, and then we can actually do the function here. So you can see it returns the value times 2, and that's just really silly because it's going to be all the times the value times 2. All we can do is get rid of it. But you'll see it at least shows all euros, all Great Britain pounds, all USD. And that's fine. And let's go get the symbol for pounds as well. And we can do that. GPD, hope this gives me the pounds somewhere. You'd really think if I type GPD to search engine that I'd get the pound symbol somewhere. GPD symbol. This is actually the sterling symbol. Pound sign. Pound sterling. That's what we want. Just so we can do that one. Case. Great British pound sterling. Return. There we go. So at least here, if we choose Great British pounds, we'll get sterling now. Now, so we want to get to the fun part of the show now, is we actually look up these currency exchange rates. And this is going to be the second problem with updating here, is that, well, what if the exchange rate isn't available yet? And this is going to be weird. So let's deal with that case first of all. We're going to create a module. So what we want is we want to have a module that has the currency exchange rates in it, and they may not be available right now. So let's look at how we do modules in this thing. Modules in TypeScript. They're probably very close to ES7, so we'll just do it the same way. Export interface, export class. That probably should be good enough. So we just create a new one. We call it currency.ts. And we just want to have a function, which is, again, I don't have an optional type, which is kind of annoying. It is kind of annoying in TypeScript. It doesn't have an optional type. Because I want a function, I want to export function get exchange from string to string. And what I want to return, is this something that doesn't exist, it appears, is I want to return an optional number. But there is no optional type. And as we saw, you can't, it's a field that's optional, not a value. So I guess this number can return undefined. Can return undefined. And again, for a language called TypeScript, it's surprisingly untyped. It's just like one tiny step above JavaScript, but get exchange from this. Now, we're going to have to, in this function, define a set series of exchanges. Let's just do the basic one first, where we figure out, yeah, we're going to have a table. How do I want to do a table? So an exchange rate, I'm not going to bother trying to figure out transitive things, because that's actually incorrect in currency exchange. You can't do like transitive. So if you have euro to Canadian and Canadian to US, you can't do euro to US based on that transitive exchange, because you actually get a slightly different rate. So we're just going to have tables for this. So what I need is a table, and what is the basic dictionary type here? Basic types is there, it's called a dictionary, a map, a tuple, an array. No, I want a map, a void, null. Well, I wonder if I can do this. Can I do this? Number or null? Let's figure if that works first of all. It's going to complain to me probably. We'll get back to that complaint. What about a map? Map. Dictionary. I guess it's just an object. What are these things called? An object? Okay, what is this type called in TypeScript? Var map equals. I need to know what this type is called so I can strictly type it. What is the TypeScript object type? It's not an object though. Let's check this out here. Yes, it would make sense. So we have an optional type somewhere if I want to import it. I'm not there quite yet. Option. Pretty good. Let's figure out how to import this one later, because we want to do this. We should be able to just import this one and use it, because we do want optionals. But right now I want to know what is the TypeScript object. Is there an actual map type? I mean, I don't want to just use object. I want to say it's a map. And is there a TypeScript map type? Okay. Is there a map type? Wow, they're not making this easy to use a map. Let's just try this. Now, how to make a map permission? So, the fx map, I guess we'll use these names, is of type, and this is weird, map. It's a map of string to a map of string common number. Does this complain? New map of string, comma map string, common number. Does it whine at me? 2,67. Well, it's complaining about something. Does this mean map's not defined, or the TypeScript error messages are not very helpful. 67. Can I not have a map of a map? Well, let's figure that one out. TypeScript map of map. TypeScript map of map. Oops. Let's check this one, how to initialize it, so we know at least how to do that. We already know there's no strong types. Let's just do anything else. Anything else. Map. Well, that looks like map would work. For curiosity, let's just simplify this first of all. To make sure it's not some weirdness, let's just say string common number. Because we could actually deal with that. Cannot find name map. All right, how do we get name map included? TypeScript map. I want a map. I know it's there somewhere. We just have to figure out how to include it. It's probably one of those modules. No, I don't want the map function. No, I want a map. There's a map. It's an interface. Alright, there's got to be something here. Project configuration. Let's look at our configuration file. I knew there was something here. We have these modules. I want something that includes a map. Tell me where the map is. Come on, map. Your map type. So all I have is that says this answer is outdated, and I have no answer in Stack Overflow. There are things like this, ES6 collections, Core.js. Cannot find map set promise. That seems reasonable. What is the promise? Invoke that up. This. Well, I want to do it the correct way. Oh, that's an interesting copy, but it says if I can just do this. Lib, where is lib? ES5, ES6. Aha, that gets map. This is kind of disappointing that you have this magical thing called lib, but you don't really bother documenting it. Right? You have like lib here. It's not even in their documentation. So this is kind of unfortunate. So you have this and you have a standard list and you just kind of basically say, I don't know, just include this. So I imagine it's going to be frustrating. So if you want to, just one of these defines map, I guess. And from that, we actually want the complex map, so let's hope that works. But it doesn't accept that. This is really weird. It won't actually accept our map of map. And why doesn't this work? Let's get it. We have an alternate way to get this to work in any case. And let's just do this fx mapping string where string is from to currency. Yeah, we'll say from to standard currency exchange format. And this is okay, because this simplifies our structure a bit, and we can just create a new map here, then we don't have to worry about multiple levels of maps. And we'll just say new map. String, or string, string. And so the symbol is actually then, the symbol we're looking for is now from plus. Now let's use this syntax. From to. And this is a fairly standard currency exchange symbat. Now, I don't know how to use a JavaScript map. Let's just hope it works like a normal map. Close on this stuff. JavaScript map. JavaScript map. It must have some functions. get delete entries for each get has. Well, we can just do get, I guess, because it returns undefined. Oh, this is supposed to be number. Let val equals fx map.get symbol. If val does not equal undefined, return val. I mean, we're still going to... Oh, I should do this. If value is equal undefined, we're going to do something else. Start loading. We're going to return val in any case. Regardless of what happens, we're going to return value. So this should all compile now. Except val is... This has to be brackets. And why is it not doing that? Type number undefined is not assignable type number or null. Alright, so undefined. I don't want to start thinking about the difference in JavaScript. That's a historical thing, I know. State. Okay, so we have this function called, we have max, and we have a function, and we have currency. Now we actually have to load that module. And I forget how to import modules. Let's go back here and let's look at the handbook of how we get modules into our code. Modules, export, export. Where's the import? I'm looking for an import, import, import. Good. Can I just import everything? Import star as, that looks good. Import star as currency from currency. Now, why is that all highlighted? Must have errors. Well, what's line 72? Why can I not... Anybody know how to get rid of the errors with console? It's saying it can't find console. So there must be some way to import that. And this is just all because it's not used, I think so. And now we're going to have getExchange, currency.getExchange. And we're going to get rid of convert currency because this is going to be an issue. Convert currency. So now we want the exchange, the FX rate equals currency.getExchange. And I hate pop-ups, go away. The current currency, and this does show currency. We want those two. We'll say if fx equals undefined, now if it's really not there, we're going to have to return a question mark for now. Otherwise, we're going to return nv times fx and the new currency. And we still get errors. Cannot find nv. No, cannot turn nv.value. Update does not exist in named item. Right, we want to get rid of this interface anyways, because that's just broken anyways. We never actually need this. That was just a test interface named item. This is just an item list. Okay, console. Cannot find name. Well, let's look that one up. Cannot find name console. TypeScript. TypeScript console. Because it works, but it just complains about it not working. TypeScript undefined. Console is undefined. Redefine one. I just try all of them. One of these might give us an answer. Don't want a lot, I just want console. And what do we have? No, I don't want Windows stuff. Nope. If anybody knows how to use console, just let me know. Because this is giving me errors, and there are examples you use it. It still works. Still works because errors apparently don't stop it from compiling. But let's just leave it for now. Okay, now if we go back to here, we need a bunch of question marks. It doesn't have the currency exchange rates for this. Okay. Now this is where we're going to have to look up the exchange rate. And this is where we'll do it over here. Currency converter. This has a very simple exchange rate. We have this free currency converter, and I'll copy this over to the chat so people can follow this link if they want. Here we go. And compact output sample. That sounds delightful. That's exactly what we want. And it gives us back a value, which is perfect. I don't know why it sticks it in the name, but that's okay. So let's copy this over. Now we're going to have to do a fetch here somewhere. Let's just do load rate, and that's actually fine. Load rate symbol, that's just fine. Symbol is string. Now, fetch. 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 Compact. And we're just going to do symbol, I guess. Dollar symbol. And hope for the best. And I hate the fetch interface. Let's figure out how to use this TypeScript fetch. TypeScript fetch. How to use fetch in TypeScript. That sounds good. Then basic. No, I just want the basic fetch syntax. No. Well, let's just start with fetch in JavaScript, because that's confusing me. Fetch. I need to get that. First you get the headers, and then you get something else. Just for example, fetch.then fetch my request. I think I can just give it a URL. .then. Then what? I think I can probably simplify this response. And return response.json. And then, what do we do then? Function JSON. Otherwise, catch function error. We're just going to console.log error. I think all this means me. I much prefer to use await and async. I think this then logic is for this. Actually, I prefer it. I should do it this way first. I reserve my commentary about promises. I've never actually liked promises, but I'll just use them for now. So we have console.dir. Let's just see we actually get this response. Let's see that this works first, and then we'll spit it out. And of course, something that should be fine there. Alright, so we question marks, and we get some response. Oh, we get errors. Network request failed. Alright, it failed. That's not really telling me a lot. So that's not really telling us much at all as to why it failed. So let's go to the command line and check it there. Let's see if we can get it from a command line first of all. Like we could do Ctrl-2. And let's grab it this way. I'm going to stick it in single quotes. And we're going to say €CAD. And that gets a value. There's some yelling outside. Just ignore that. I hope you can't hear it. Alright, so how do we debug this thing? Let URL equal. Let's just grab this first. Make sure this is working. Console.log getting URL. Oh, so that's going to even wait me more then. I know, that works though, all this. Getting. Alright, so we have a URL, but the network request failed, and I have no idea why. That sucks. But yeah, double quotes appear to work just fine. And our URL is fine. You can see over here our URL is actually fine. CAD USD, and it worked in the command line. So now what? How do we figure out why this request failed? Let's make this a bit bigger so maybe I can see more. I still can't see more. Just it. Network request failed, and it failed a lot. And we should probably exclude this from the other ones. Let's say var fx loading map string boolean. New map string boolean. So we don't keep loading it multiple times. Load rate, we're going to say if fx loading dot get sim equals true, return. We'll just get rid of that. Fx loading sim equals true. So we don't double load stuff here. We don't double load, and regardless of what happens here, we're just going to single load it, and we're going to have to clear this out in the end. Fx loading sim equals false. Fx loading sim equals false, but we're not there yet, so that should be fine. This will just prevent us double loading. Maybe that might be part of the problem. No, it's still loading lots. Shit, why is it loading so much? Why is this loading so much? Now I have an error here. It's loading map. It's supposed to set it to true, so if it's true it returns without loading anything. Otherwise it starts loading it, and it returns it true right away. But if the request fails right away, it might load it. So let's just take this off for now and see why that is. Just trying to figure out why it doesn't collect multiple times. It should only do it once. Alright, so something wrong with the code here. This should never be called multiple times for the same symbol. It's just calling it more and more and more and more. Euro USD, Euro USD, Euro USD, Euro USD. What the hell? Why is this not working? Let's remove the fetch for a second, just so I can actually test why this isn't working. right? So there's something wrong here. It shouldn't be keeping us. Once I set this to true, this guard is supposed to say. So what on earth is happening here? Console.log fx loading.getSim. Undefined, undefined. Why is this undefined? Does it not actually accept set? Oh, that's lame. Seriously, the JavaScript map doesn't implement the subscript operator. I have to call set. That is totally unexpected. Why would they do that? Alright, so that's something new. So basically what I discovered is that a map, a JavaScript map, formal map type, does not implement this. You cannot do this to set the value. You have to call set, which is really strange, at least in TypeScript. So okay, that would be why I'm loading multiple times. And we'll do it here then, and we have to do the same thing down here. Set sim, false. We could also just remove the key, but that's not a big deal. Okay, format form. I'm going to get rid of the formatted calls now as well. Where do we have these? Console.log. Right, and now I still get the same thing. Network request failed. Now I have no idea how to debug this. What could I possibly do to debug this? The command line works. Let me just check from wherever we are. Where are we? I'm going to build it this way. Go run. I'm going to exit this here first. Oh, this is going to be back small again. This is an error in the log error message. Okay, let's do that first. I hate logging errors in JavaScript. What if it doesn't have an error.message? Well, that's helpful. So I get even less information that way. Oh. See, what do I... Alright, so where are we? We're into... Where is this directory? Fuse demos. Stream TypeScript. Go run. This might take a while to compile the first time because I've never done it, and OBS is consuming all my compiling time. I'm going to check to see if it's an issue with preview or why we can't call this API. It's not like we've actually written anything to do with this network layer. This is just the standard JavaScript libraries. So I'm surprised it's doing that. Curl has no problem with it, and I really hope it's not something to do with the S part of the HTTPS, not that it doesn't recognize the certificate or something. So my keyboard has this button on it, which I've ripped out, and it's because this is Cherry 1, is that on Linux for some reason I have no way of disabling the sleep functionality, and every time I press this button, my desktop computer goes to sleep. No warning whatsoever, just sleep. And of course there's a defect in the BIOS or something which prevents it from coming out of sleep. So I pried the key off my keyboard because I can't disable it. And that's why. So I'm playing with a button, that's what it is. So now you can hear the laptop being nice and noisy. So fetch a different URL. I mean, let's try that. But I want this URL, because if I can't fetch the currency, then it's no fun. There were other currency options though, but I had to request an API. So this will take a while, because again, we're fighting with OBS here. If you can see the, I don't know if top here, oh yeah, I forgot top on Mac is weird. You can see the C line down here compiling 2 of them, and we have OBS somewhere on the list here. I don't know where. Top on, I have no idea how to sort stuff on top by CPU, yes. Order C. Order C. Oh, that were something. Let's get out of top here. Interesting. So it is a problem with preview. Outside of preview, we actually get responses. Well, that kind of sucks. So what's wrong with preview? Preview is running within .NET, so this could be a mono error then. It could be a mono error. And I'm willing to bet it's something to do with the SSL, trying to verify that somehow. What else can I do then? I really want to use that API. If I can't use that API, the whole demo is kind of ruined, because I need to get some sort of... Yeah, what can I do? Let's check then, certificates. What do we have? More information. The certificate seems fine. Let's check this. Mono rejecting certificates. HTTPS certificates. I have no idea what I'm looking for. I have no idea how to debug this because it's through JavaScript. Does somebody fetch mono HTTPS? Does somebody know that? Does there somebody ask about this? Oh look, somebody asked in our own forums at one point. What do we have? Anything here? Oh well, that's what I get. Well, this is really old. Wow. Let's see if anybody ever had a solution here. Just gonna go through it quickly. Well, over a year ago, I guess we haven't switched yet, but... And Oldest even replied, so we haven't switched. This just sucks. I can't do it in preview. And this is a... I don't know how to do this then. So is that just it? Mono sucks? Okay, so we can't do the currency conversion then if I don't have a way to do this. Alright, let's move on pretending that this didn't work. Yeah, I want the hot reload though, especially with an API that's going to do it. Let's just pretend this, and the way I'm going to pretend this works is... I'm going to do this. I'm going to do fx map dot set symbol math.random plus 0.5. That seem fair? Now it's going to fail the first time, but when I go to the next one, now we get these values to it. And that's just good enough to show how the feature would work. But you notice the problem is that the first time when it first reloads, we don't have a way of saying that it's been updated. We don't have a way of saying, well, look, the currency, we have this currency now, can we reload? And let's do reload the viewport to see how that works. Obviously, we need to format this stuff as well. Let's figure that one out first. Where's our formatted? Anybody know how to format a two-value thing in TypeScript? TypeScript number formatting. Let's see if we can get some number formatting. And let's just check a few of these. Too fixed, too fixed, too fixed. I guess too fixed. Can I call this directly in here? Too fixed. 2. Or is this going to be weird? No, that's in the wrong place. I wonder if this works. Got 2 fixed. 2. Alright, that works. So we have the values, and we see which currency it is. These are just random again. These are just totally random, but they're consistently random at least. But the issue was when we reload this, restart the viewport, when we make the initial request, we don't want it to start with question mark. Obviously, it reloads the request at some point. So when we go like this, we get question marks, and then the request comes through, and obviously it should actually update the value. We want to see the screen update. And so how can we actually make the screen update? Well, we have the same thing with the currency changed. We have to find a way to get something to update here. So let's do this. Export function, add watcher. And how do we do this? This is in Java. We need to have a callback. Wow. We need function signatures in TypeScript now. Got to learn that one. What are function signatures? Typing the functions. No, I need a type signature. Alright, that looks like that. Funny syntax, should be good. So a callback watcher is something that has... It's going to take the symbol, because hey, why not? And it's going to take the value, and it's going to be a number, and it's going to return nothing. Do we have aliasing? We did, didn't we? Lacking a search. TypeScript aliasing. TypeScript type alias. In this case, we just need an alias. Type. That's good enough. Type watcher callback. I guess this should probably be equals. I'm going to give it this callback. That's the type watcher callback. And we have a list watchers, which is going to be a watcher callback list. Callback array equals new watcher callback. I guess I don't need this. This is supposed to be inferred. Let's hope it's inferred. And this is a watcher callback. And we're going to do watchers.push callback. And I don't know why all this stuff is highlighted. What have I done wrong? Expected 10,1. Alright, so we have something wrong with the signature here. Or not. Line 10 is this one. This is line 10. Well, let's just do it this way. Watcher callback equals this. I thought that was a return value. Let's go back and see what it is. Well, this is supposed to be, I'm just looking for the signature. I'm not trying to do a function, right? Because it's right here. We have this, and it gives number. Oh, maybe it's supposed to be a void. Aha, it's a void. Who in their right mind would introduce void into a language? Okay, now we're going to move on. So I have the watchers. I push the watchers back. And whenever I get a response here, I'm going to store. I'm going to have a function called store rate. Store rate. Symbol string value number. Because we're going to do it right here. We're going to do store rate. Because obviously we call store rate here as well. Store rate, symbol, and we're pretty sure this is going to be JSON. What does this thing actually look like? JSON symbol dot value. If this ever worked, we would call it right there. And we could try this on the command line after. Let's actually put that thing back in there, console.json. Store rate symbol.math.random plus 0.5. It's no longer loading, and store rate will do fxmap.set symbol comma value, and we're going to go through the watchers. So for let w of watchers w symbol comma value. So we're going to call all the watchers. Now this should all be fine so far. We don't have a watcher yet. And oh, currency 40 cannot find name fetch parameters typed any. Wow. We have a lot of errors we should be fixing. Alright, this console one's bugging me. How do I import console? Cannot find name console, cannot find name fetch. There must be a way to implement fetch in console. TypeScript cannot find console. Not TypeScript, I want JavaScript. Okay. There's got to be an easier way to do this. There must be some standard library that includes it. Not this. There's got to be some standard library that just includes console. But since the library isn't documented, it's kind of hard to figure out which library that should be. Can I cite typescriptlang.org? Console. Give me something I can use. Something helpful I can use. This has console. Look, it uses console, but they don't tell you how to import it. That's stupid. Console, these are compiler options. Don't want that. Now, I find this really bad in their docs. They actually use console, but not tell you how to import it. Now, I can't find anything online, so if anybody knows how to import console, because it's the exact same thing for fetch and parameter response. So we're going to have all these errors, and we're in strict mode, and we've got to figure out a way to fix these all in TypeScript. But their docs are not helping us, and that's where we're going to have to figure out how to get a proper fetch. And we're just going to move on for now because I don't want to deal with that too much. Alright, so right now we call this watcher. So we store the rate and we call a watcher. And the main TS here, what we need to do now is install a watcher. So when we have this constructor here, default class date, we're going to add currency.addWatcher. I'm going to make a function here. Updated currency, and this takes a symbol string. And we're not going to use these things values, and a value as a number. And we don't have to do about this. We're just going to update everything. So let's just do update monies. Let's do this way. Update. Well, I just call it update items. Self.update items, and we'll just do self.update items. Okay, now we get all sorts of errors, and this is the problem now. If we don't have all those items, this is supposed to be this. If we don't have a clean output, we can't actually figure out which items are relevant. Update items, updated currency. It's supposed to be this.updated currency. And oh man, this is going to probably have the wrong binding. Let's find out. That means when I click one, no, well no. Updated currency is not defined. This.updated currency. I have to reload that. How do we do this? Let's just do S comma V. Let's do it this way, S comma V. We're going to have to restart this as well to clear the cache, because we're caching the currency values in the back of JavaScript. So let's see what happens now. And it updated. Perfect, it updated. And there's got to be a way to do this directly. And this is one thing I don't like Java, is how do I bind the function directly? But alright, so you can see it momentarily goes to question, then updates it. And that solves the problem then of how do we get this updated. We have this magical update function. If we do update the currency, we could update the values here. This would also allow for sometimes to put a recycle on these things. If you want to say what's the current currency value, you can go through and update all the currencies. But we don't have to implement that now. So let's run this one from the command line and see if it actually works. Where was that? The command line version, which can actually grab the object. Now we can see if we get a reasonable value. Okay, this is super small. I don't know why. The screen has the wrong resolution. So this is like 13 euros. So if we go to euros, we expect 13 euros. And the black bowling ball was $9, 7 euros. That seems right. €1 and $1 Canadian is 64 cents. So it looks like we're actually getting the correct currencies here. So if these are in USD, we wait, and we get the values. And so that's exactly what we want. That actually works. Unfortunately, it doesn't work in preview, but this works here. And so we have a decent fallback for testing at least. And the dollar sign's the wrong way, we don't care. So we have 13 euros is $16, $9 is $9, exact respect. The clock of €1 is 123, exact exchange rate and lower. And in British pounds, these are all quite low in British pounds, what we fully expect at this point as their currency continues to drop. But that gives us actual live currency exchange. Now obviously if you use this program too long, and I don't expect this of a typical user program, these currency rates do change, and this is why whenever you have currency things, it always says there's an estimate, there's an estimate, there's an estimate. You may be charged from the bank, this and that. If you were doing something to need updated currencies, you would keep refreshing this over time. But that wouldn't be a big deal because we have these watchers, and if this currency thing actually said, well, let's just update the currency every 10 minutes or so, then you could go through and refresh all the currencies which are in use, grab the newest one, and then call the watchers to update all of them. The API here at Free Currency actually allows for that, but in this free version we're getting 100 per hour. So if I do any frequency here, we're going to quickly kill it out. But the actual output here allows you to do multiple currencies and update them all at once. And as long as we're sticking with main currencies, we're always going to have a conversion back and forth. But if you go into fringe currencies, smaller ones, this one will probably not give you direct conversion rates. But for all the main ones, you should be fine. So what we have here is we have the type of the watcher callback. It's a void. Unfortunate use of the void. It's an unfortunate use of the equals arrow here because this has nothing to do with the JavaScript equals arrow. This is a return value, and it does a different binding. I don't know if that's really the same. It's unfortunate that in preview we can't call this HTTPS function. But that's okay, we're here to learn JavaScript at the moment. So we'll just keep putting this output here. And we just call a default rate here, and we'll just spread the same. Just for testing. To see that the rest is working. And we actually might want to do this here. We might want to do something like this. Timeout, set timeout, set timeout. Let's just say 1000 times math.random. So between 1 and 2 seconds. So it'll still actually look like it's asynchronous. So if we go back here and, whoa, no, what happened now? Error is not defined. Well, it is. I just don't know what it's whining about now. This probably has to have this, no? I'll just do this. Screw the binding. Okay. Alright. And we've got an error here still. Where's our question mark now? Where'd my question marks go? All right. Yeah, I know all this. I don't need this here though, but let's just do it anyways because it's... But that shouldn't be where my problem is. Let's just restart this. Yeah, I put it in the catch block for the purpose of just testing when it falls back. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Why does it do it multiple times? The purpose here is so that we can simulate a load, we get the questions, and the rates basically slowly come in. And because it's random, this is just for the error callback, this is just for testing. Just to see what it would work like in that case. And you may want to put this outside the catch block, but this works for us for testing. So all we're doing here is, the reason I have this in the catch block is because right now in preview, this get on this HTTPS is failing because there's some certificate error in mono. And so what we do is when we get that error, so we can continue working with the program, is I'm going to store a rate anyways as though we got it, but I'm going to do a timeout. I'm using the timeout to simulate a web request because the actual failure happens immediately. So I use this timeout to simulate taking 1 to 2 seconds for it to load, and then I store the actual rate just like the successful one would, so that when we switch back and forth, we actually get the delayed response. But now since they're all there, it doesn't load them again. Although it might attempt to load them again. No, probably won't load them again. So to refresh, so when we restart, let's do it that way. We can just pretend that the fetch is actually working. So when you click, say, on euros, it goes question marks, and then you get values in later. And that's what the timeout is for. Just give that random delay as though it's loading it from the network, when we know for a fact it not really is. Whereas in the real program here, it's actually going to fetch the real values. Of course, that's already loaded them. So that should be fine. Okay, now what I want to fix, the last thing I want to fix in this episode, is I want to figure out how we get rid of these warnings. I want to use console and fetch, and I want to do this correctly in TypeScript so we don't get these errors for strictness. What are the libs we can use? Let's just guess there's one called web. No, there's not one called web. Not called one for DOM. They're not making this easy. They're not making it easy to do this correctly. And alright, oldest to the rescue. What do we do? Alright, let's do that. Let's just break this thing off first of all. Control C. Yeah, install. Whoops. Type/node. I don't know what I'm time installing. And alright, so we don't have fetch, but we have console now. And I honestly don't understand why that fixes that, because I've not modified my project. So that seems wrong. I've installed something, but I haven't modified my project, and suddenly console goes away. And well, this one says add DOM. Maybe that would help. Maybe that gives me my fetch one. Now this is really weird, is that the DOM has nothing to do with fetch and console. It has to do with, like I would say, the document object model stuff. Alright, but we can include DOM here, and that gets rid of some of the errors. Alright, so state.js. So, okay, let's go with that. Let's fix that last one here. How do we mark a value as not being used? That's the next one. So we have those things. TypeScript ignore value. We need to ignore a value now saying we intend to the type error. Now let's just copy the command here, ts266. Let's see if there's let's see if there's a way to ignore values. Because we know we're ignoring it, and we want to keep the error on, but there's a reason we're ignoring it. You don't always use the values. How do you suppress that error? Very good. Oh wait, that's not the same error. Wow, that was a pretty shitty search. No, that's not what I want. No. I want to temporarily disable it. So do people actually do this, or what do they do? there must be a way to override it saying how do I ignore a value? I'm beginning to question the popularity of TypeScript a little bit now that people haven't run into this issue. Suppress error TS5. Well, let's look at this one. Let's see if there's a way to suppress individual errors. Let's see if we could suppress anything else. No, because this is a different type of error. Yes, that's what I want. So this is TypeScript. So let's look at the issues. 2,000 open issues. Wonderful. And we're looking for 6133. Let's look for ignore. Let's do not this. Let's do 6133. Well, that's not helpful. Well, let's add an issue for it. Stop, stop, stop. Well, they really don't want issues. Half of all issues filed are duplicates. Well, we just did search for them. Read the Chimney Giants, read the FAQ. If you have a question, snow form, ask questions over it gets. Alright, after reading this, and I know a lot of projects have this template, but after reading this, I'm just not motivated to actually file a request. So let's go over to Stack Overflow and ask. But this is exactly the one right here. So at the moment, in my opinion, without a way to do this, this is a fundamental flaw of TypeScript. You can't have modes that say strict, no unused local parameters, and then not provide a way to say, look, it's actually used. That's just, it's just wrong, yeah? I mean, because there's going to be cases where you don't use everything. It's like, well, we have this case here, we just don't need them, and it's a callback, and the callback provides this, and if you're dealing with a callback, there's just nothing you can do with it. And so this is actually an error for TypeScript, and I'm not going to file an issue because their issue system is very unfriendly with the amount of stuff it makes you read and discourages you from actually filing an issue. So I won't actually do that then. TypeScript, no way to mark variable as ignored, just unused. And so this is actually a major problem because it's going to end up making me turn off these errors, because eventually you'll have these errors pile up. But that would mean we didn't find the console log error. So this is a big open question. How do we mark this? If somebody cares to file an issue, to read through their stupid little document there about how to file issues, feel free, and you can feel free to file this one saying, how do we mark this as unused, based on the fact that the one in Stack Overflow says it's not a way to suppress these errors. I don't know. I don't see an option here. And this to me indicates, very honestly, that not many people are actually using the strict modes, because this would come up and somebody would have to do it. And specifically, people working on TypeScript are probably not using the strict modes. Otherwise, they would have encountered this and been ignored this, or they don't have a policy of getting rid of all their errors. One way or another, we don't have a way to get rid of the symbol value. And I'm just trying to think of how we can quickly fake this. And I mean, we might be able to do this export var ignore any ignore equals sim ignore equals value. This is pretty lame though, but it works. This is because it can't tell that the export's not used, so we can just put an ignore for now. And this is really not very good. It's something that should be fixed, and I'm not going to file the issue because, as I said, there are the requirements for issue. It's 2 pages of reading just to decide if you want to file an issue. That's not helpful. And I know they're trying to avoid duplicates, but seriously, they could be a bit friendlier about it. I think that's all I wanted to cover today. What did we learn today? We got a new module. This wasn't much too new. We had the currency. We have the currency module. We exported it. We got a function callback. We used the void. We used an OR symbol here. This is actually they call it a union type, otherwise known as a variant type. We tried to use fetch. It failed, but it does work in the standalone version. We got it working. We don't know what happened with fetch. It seems to work, and all the errors went away. I'm not quite clear what did that. If you're looking for the thing, just in your configuration file, just stick lib es5, es6, and dom, and just forget about it. There are no references for these as far as we can tell. Just stick them in and hope for the best. And in our main, that's basically all we have. That's basically all I had. So we have live currency conversion. Again, the numbers right now, because our HTTPS is failing, are just made up. But this actually works in the standalone mode. And we can see that once more as a final way. Let's just check it one more time. Compile it once more. Then we can see what's happening there. Let's start this compile. For anybody who's interested in how Fuse does its layout, I recently did a series of articles on how Fuse does its layout. And it's about writing a UI engine. I'm going to keep working on this. It's unrelated to this show, but it's... go away for a second. Control-C, Control-V. This is a recommendation, even if you don't want to know how to write a UI engine. I've gone through here about a lot of the details about layout, and I'm probably going to restructure this a bit for design. What you need to know about doing design, what does natural versus dependent size mean, working with pixels, points, and density, and how layout works, what's a box model. And the most recent one is fitting an element to its frame. And this one goes through and talks about what types of sizing mode images have, starting with the space, for example, stretching and frames fitting in grid 9. And these are going to be helpful. I'm going to update them. They're written now from the point of view of writing a UI engine, but I realize these first 6 articles are pretty much for design in general, for interfaces. If you are doing UI interface design, these are concepts that you should know about. And I'll just promote this here, and I'm going to reframe them that way. And I will get some more about the low-level details of how engines actually work. And I'll also put this in here. Let's take a look at an example. This is where our final example is. It's really small here. We have a density issue on the standalone one. But what we have is we have these currencies. Hope you can see it. And we have live currency conversion. So we have the 4 currencies. And if we click USD, it'll convert what they are into USD. And these look to be about the right sizes. So 13 right values. So 13 euros is 16 USD. And $9, which is USD, is of course 9 USD. And 1 Canadian is 0.79. And it loads them asynchronously, and it's using the currency conversion API that I wrote earlier, and that's this one here. They have a paid version if you need to do more. It seems like a reasonable API, responds quickly. And I think that's all I wanted to cover today. So, despite some of the errors and some of the troubles we had with TypeScript, it does appear to be a very sort of rough language. There's a lot of corners. It's not like a refined product yet. There seems to be very rough corners in this language, in particular in the documentation. So I guess it's good we're doing this show to work through some of these problems and how these things work. And we'll keep working at this. Next week I'll pick it up, and we can probably keep going with this app, and we'll see what else things we can stick into this app. We can get more things, and I wanted to do more with the union types. I was hoping to get to today, but more with the union types next time. So I thank you very much for watching, and tonight I will be doing Evening Rust. If you want to see Rust programming for AI bots, I'll be back in the World War program Hypersonic, which is a Bomberman clone. We're currently in the Silver League, and we're going to program that using a depth-based search, breadth-first search, to figure out what our best move is. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'm actually going to start programming a Leaf game in Leaf using SDL and OpenGL, and we're going to write a Tron game, and we'll start that sometime tomorrow. Probably I'll start early in the morning or late afternoon. I'm not decided yet, but just watch my Twitter stream, and if it is early morning, you can catch it on YouTube afterwards, in any case, as all of my videos. And I thank you very much for watching. Please follow and subscribe. Thank you very much.